it's fun to get to dive into the CrossFit athletes.
You guys want to say hi? You guys want to say hi to Brian and Ryan?
What's up, guys?
They can't hear you, Brian. Brian said hi. I think Ryan gave you guys the bird. Do you think it's good for Hopper to have cake and Twix with the Buttery Boys 2 weeks before regionals? Huh. No, it's never good to eat that shit. I saw Brian working hard today. Okay, guys. Peace. Love you guys. YouTube. Sevan
So I'm working
Sevan
hard.
Podcast. I took a nap. Can you fucking believe that? I took when you said that you were at the venue and you were headed back to your hotel room. I literally just flew into my bed, told Alexa to set the timer for 25 minutes, and piled pillows on my face.
So you feel great right now.
I don't know if I feel great. I was tripping today. It was too much TV. That's probably the most TV I've watched in forever. Do you have the run on the live feed, Ryan?
What does that mean? Oh, Ryan. Sorry.
Ryan, check, check. Okay, cool. I'm just making sure I'm in the right place. Pop out chat. Guys, it looks like why is Hopper acting like a jackass? Come on, Jesus, man. This is a tough crowd. Tough crowd. What are we doing right now? We are.
We can answer that question.
Okay, go ahead.
That's obviously whoever asked that question. Or her interpretation of what Hopper's behavior is reflective of. But he's a very intense individual who is not used to losing, and he's not executing and performing and having the results that he wants to have, and it's bothering him. And that's a competitive mindset. And he said it multiple times to me this week. I'm going to go back and fix that. I'm going to go back and fix that. But in the moment, when he's not meeting his own expectations, he's frustrated. And maybe it doesn't look as good or come across as good as some of you would like to see. But that's just that kind of competitive edge that's part of who he is.
Bam. See, Brian's not going to take your. He didn't bite your guys' bait. I bit for it. Was Guy wearing Reeboks for his lift? Good question. When he comes on, you can ask him, but Brian will answer in the meantime.
I'm pretty sure he's been wearing Reeboks for all three of his event wins, which means that no matter what he finishes overall in the games, he's already approaching 40K.
Wow. Wow. Good on him. No wonder he's smiling. How old is that kid? That guy? That boy? That man? That dude?
He's 21.
Crazy. Did you have any idea? Had you seen his snatch numbers, Brian?
Yeah, in 2018, he snatched 292 pounds in the teenage division at the CrossFit Games, which, although they couldn't use fractional plates this year, would have placed third in the men's division this year,
Okay, so
behind himself, which technically means he would have been second to Royce Dunn.
Jeremy Stubson just gave $19.99. Thank you guys sending in a donation for some great insight by the good dudes. Man, that is awesome of you. Thank you. I don't know where to start. There's so much to talk about. Brooke Wells, what did you hear when you were on the ground there, Brian? What do we got?
It's not good. I mean, if you've had a chance to see the video or watch it back, the elbow just gave out, and we know that she's been wearing that brace on her elbow throughout the competition. Well, maybe not in every event. We talked about it a day or two ago, and we also know, thanks to some of you guys, that she was wearing that at semifinals this year also. My kind of suspicion was that no matter what happened this weekend, she was probably going to have some kind of surgery or procedure on that elbow following the games. Obviously now, I think this is like the straw that broke the camel's back as far as her elbow is concerned. Like, she was riding the line thin, and she rode it too thin, and it's obviously sad and devastating. She was doing very well this weekend, but sports is sports, and sometimes you have to push the limits, and unfortunately, that's how, a very sad way for this season to end for Brooke Wells.
Hey, that's interesting. I just thought of something. Earlier in the week, you asked, you were questioning when she was doing muscle ups at the top one time, her hand slipped through, and you were wondering if that injured her. But maybe her hand slipped through because her elbow gave way a little bit. So it wasn't necessarily that did the original injury, but she was having issues at the top of the muscle ups and the push up because her elbow was already injured. Jesus, I need coffee.
Yeah, it seems like that was the case. I can't remember if it was Ryan or someone else, but someone sent me a screenshot, maybe a couple people did, of semifinals where she was wearing the same brace. So I think this has been an issue for her for a couple months at least. And like I said, it's you never want to see anyone go out like that at the games. So all the best for Brooke, and obviously what's going to be some time to recover from that.
Someone named Christy said, "Is it weird that my balls always itch?" It's weird that your name is Christy and that you have balls. I know that. Kristen Lar gave $20. How is a dude at home in California and a guy on his overheating iPhone 10 serving coverage and analysis head to head shoulders above everybody else? Much appreciated. Kristen, you know what's funny is I don't know about that because I can't watch everything that everyone else is doing. But what the really funny part is that this is so last minute for Brian and I. We got together a couple months ago. Matt Souza, the owner of CrossFit Livermore, said he would help me start a podcast again. He said he would take care of all, and I just know him from just seeing him around in the CrossFit community. And then out of the blue, so we started doing the podcast, and he would schedule them for Brian and I, because that's the thing I didn't want to do. I did not want to schedule them. I just wanted to play with my kids. So he started scheduling them, and so I felt compelled to do them. And then Ryan reached out on Instagram. Ryan's the guy who does all the technical stuff behind the scenes and makes sure the YouTube station's running right and making sure that the guests come in on time and all that stuff. And so the whole thing is just kind of taken off. I don't know. I don't even know how kind of we got here, except for the fact that between the four of us, Matt, Ryan, Brian, and myself, we do have a little obsessive personalities. So we're just running. I think each of us, it's like the CrossFit Games athletes are competing. And I think the four of us are competing to see who's working the hardest. And so that's why you guys are getting a lot of good stuff. And yeah, that's it. I don't know. It's bizarre. What's even more bizarre is I think we're approaching 600,000 downloads on YouTube and iTunes and Spotify combined, and yet we don't. That it's just we're just winging it, which is kind of cool. We need like Monster Energy drink as a sponsor. Just kidding. Brian, when Guy was doing those snatches, like I think I know a lot about coaching in CrossFit, but I'm tripping because every lift looked exactly the same, and his grip looked so narrow. Like, what were we watching there? And his back was like so straight. Like, what is that? Is that how like real Olympic lifters lift, or like?
More or less, it's more along the lines of what you see from an Olympic lifter than a CrossFitter generally. But even within the realm of Olympic lifting, everyone's got different techniques depending on their shoulder mobility, the kind of anthropometrics. I always get that word wrong of their body, how their shoulders sit in their socket, how their hips sit in their socket. He happens to have all of those things in the combination that makes that snatching, that overhead position, just looking incredible, rare, and unique. And he has a very good finish. So his final pull and then his punch to overhead is very deliberate, and he hits the same spot every time. Plus, he was the only guy in the event that still was not within 10 pounds of his lifetime PR. I think 315 is his lifetime PR, I think. So he was still one or two lifts away from that, where with every other guy, we saw them, you know, either just because of the way that their bodies and the condition their bodies in at this point in the competition, they were too fatigued to approach a lifetime PR. But like Justin Medeiros matched his lifetime PR. He was going for a PR, and so a lot of these guys were just at the upper echelons of their
all of his lifts
capacity, and Guy wasn't there yet. That's all I wanted to say. But yeah,
all of his lifts compared to Guy's were really sloppy. Just like I would say the same. Look at Royce Dunn. Ooh, I got it right. Look at Royce Dunn. Not a single one of his lifts looked anything like Guy's. Every single one.
I'm not sure anyone's did.
Yeah, well, I will say this: Saxon and Scott had some beautiful lifts, and some of Fikowski's.
And Scott, if Scott was healthy, yeah, and if Scott was healthy, I think he would have stayed in that for a couple more lifts for sure. He can hang with the 290, 295, I think, with two good knees. And Fikowski, I don't think his leg's at 100%, so it still is a pretty good performance given that. But if he was completely healthy, he would have been in for a couple more rounds as well.
Something looks like it's wrong with Fikowski. Like more than just maybe it's just his leg, maybe it's his back. I don't know. He seems like a man who's like he looks like he was just transported into that body. Like that body just doesn't seem like, even when he walks over to the snatch where the snatch is going on, just doesn't seem like him at all. Do you know stuff? Is he really hurt? Is something going on with him?
I don't know. I don't think he's in any worse shape than most of the other athletes at this point in the competition. I mean, they've done 12 grueling tests that test them in a variety of different capacities: heavy load, long, short, power output, odd object. I mean, the body is taking a big toll at this point. I think he's definitely healthy enough to finish strong tomorrow. I mean, he's still within grasp of definitely of second place. In order to win this competition, he will need Justin Medeiros to have a bad day tomorrow. But I think he's all but locked up a spot on the podium as long as he can finish. So I think he's pretty happy with execution on a majority of the events. He did talk about at the press conference today that his running is not where he'd like it to be, and that obviously he had a really poor performance this morning, 26 on event 10. But outside of that, he's been incredibly consistent. I think besides that, he still has had everything 13th or better, which is, that's on par with the most consistent performances that we've seen in the sport in recent years that usually land people on the podium. So I think he's overall happy. Maybe he's not 100%, but I don't think very many people are at this point.
Good point. I didn't. I totally neglected to think like that. Tell me about this press conference. What's that about?
Each night they have a few athletes that they select to come up to the panel. Usually Dave's also up there. I'm not sure if he was today, but I know that Tia, Annie, Pat, and Brent, I believe, were up on the panel today. Um, and so the press just gets an opportunity to ask him a couple questions.
Was Fraser there?
I didn't see him.
Oh,
This is actually the first time I caught the second half of the press conference, and it's the first time I've ever been at it. They had it in 2019 as well, but I never got a chance to go because I was working, and this is the first one I've caught the end of today. In part, I went over there and stayed because I saw that Pat was there and just wanted to have a quick word with him before he left and congratulate him on a great day.
how much press was there?
Probably like 100 people, but I can't tell how many of them are press and how many of them are fans. No, maybe there's a couple hundred people. I'd say like 50 to 75 press probably.
Wow, is it like in an auditorium setting?
It's in what they used to call the beer garden. That this year is the Fit Aid
Yeah.
Lounge. Yes, they have them up
Okay.
on a stage and people all surround there. But
Wow.
all the media sources that you guys are familiar with were there. So
Jacqueline Jacqueline Robertson, $10. Thank you.
again,
I know. It's just crazy. Something named BL, bacon and lettuce, $10. Appreciate the great coverage. Damn. No, thank you. Uh, Lazar Jukic. I saw him fighting, arguing with his
oh,
referee, with his judge during the pegboard, jump rope, overhead squat, dumbbells. That always hurts me when I see an athlete having to deal with a judge during the middle. I know the way I worded that, like I'm blaming the judge. Sorry, but it really bums me out when I see an athlete having to deal with that shit. What was he dealing with?
so my buddy, fan of the show, Butch, who's been hanging out with me a bit this weekend, has a seat on the opposite side of the Coliseum from me, and he was right in front of Lazar's lane. And as soon as that heat ended, he came over to me and just said real quick, Lazar did 16 double unders on every round. His judge was holding him to a really high standard on the overhead squat and no repping him a bunch. And I talked to Lazar afterward, and he said he appealed all of that with the judging. And as CrossFit typically does, they upheld the ruling on the field. And so, even though it appears to me, and I didn't go back and watch this yet, that he actually did more reps than anyone in that workout, he wasn't credited with more reps. They decided to uphold the scoring decision on the field, so he's still in second place, even though it sounds like he would have at least tied Cole, if not had taken the event win, perhaps with a different, either a different judging decision on the field, I guess.
S- s- so that is one of the things that happened is he finished the double unders and he walked away and the judge called him back. I wonder if after that Lazar started like doubling down and doing an extra one so he wouldn't get called back. I wonder if that was his choice.
Um, I'm not sure, but for me, that was an impressive, like the way that he handled that. He was obviously not happy with it, but he just kept working and he reeled in BKG and ended up overtaking him in that workout. That was for a guy who's in his rookie year. That was I thought that was a pretty veteran move and showed a lot of experience and maturity in the midst of adversity on the competition floor.
Damn. Okay. Peter Freitas, $1.99. Thank you, Peter. You're a good dude. Saucy,
Yes.
saucy. What would happen if Danielle Brandon and Brent Fikowski had a kid? You know, that's like one of the things that that's like a comment every year at the CrossFit Games. Like, there's talk like that. What if Tia and Matt? What if? It's a good question. Yanikoski did better in the snatch than I expected at 17th place, 260 pounds. Were you surprised?
Wait. I have to pull something up real quick. to
Isn't that
answer
what they
question.
started at? That means he
He hit one lift.
260. Yeah. I didn't even think he'd be able
He
to
hit
do
260.
that. Yeah.
3 guys did not, and then he lost on the tiebreaker to Noah Olson. I think he just mailed in the tiebreak because, as I suspected prior to the competition, he was rubbing his shoulder a bit after that. And Dave was standing kind of right in front of me at greeting all the athletes off the field of play. And anyone who was showing any sign of injury, Dave was conscious of asking them if they were okay or not. And Jonas said, "Yeah, I'm fine." But I think that his shoulder's less than 100%. But like I said with Brent, everyone's feeling some little, pain in some part of their body at some point this weekend. So, oh wow, look at this.
Hello.
What's up?
What's up?
Guilherme. Am I saying it right? Guilherme?
Yeah, almost there.
Tell me.
8%.
Wait, let me try. Guilherme Malheiros. How's that?
Guilherme Malheiros.
Guilherme. There's the L. You
Yeah.
say the L.
Yeah. And the
Guilherme.
H. Because
Guilherme.
I think Guilherme. But you can call me Gui.
Okay,
No
I'm gonna
problem.
call you Guy, and then tonight when I'm in the shower, I'll practice it. So the next time we meet, I'll get it down. And say your last
Let's
name,
go.
Malheiros.
Malheiros. Or you can call me Malheiros. Malheiros. Oh, Malheiros.
Hey, congratulations, Guy. Great, insane job today.
Thank you so much.
When we ranked the athletes last week on our show, I ranked you as having the nicest body of all the CrossFit athletes. You were number 1. I didn't know if you were just all show and no go, and you not only do you look good, but you're performing up to your looks. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you know Brian? The guy next to me? Have you seen him at the games?
Not yet.
Okay. Well,
I will find you tomorrow.
Nice. Cool.
So
I was talking to Felipe today after the end of competition,
yeah.
and he was
just like
Yeah.
messaging me.
who's Felipe?
so. He's Guy. So we were trying to figure out how to get in touch with you to get you on here anyway. And while we were talking about that, he reached out to us on Instagram. He reached out to me and said, "Hey man, you want to have Guy on the show?" And I was like, "Yes." We were just talking about that. And then I met him yesterday and got a chance to talk to him again today. So he helped set this up.
Yeah, he's working with us, like creating stuff, making content for the social media and my documentary that's going to be released soon.
Oh, sweet. Is your documentary about your journey to the CrossFit Games?
Yeah, since the Open, then the quarterfinals, then the semifinals, until now.
Crazy. How old
Yeah.
are you?
21.
And how long have you been doing CrossFit?
So I started in 2015. Yeah,
Wow.
2015. Yeah, I used to play basketball. Then I got into CrossFit to improve my basketball game. But like in the final of the year, I got better in CrossFit than in basketball. So then I just changed it.
Is basketball big in Brazil?
Not that much. Used to be like more, but now it's not so big at all.
And you came to the CrossFit Games in the teen competition.
Yes, 2017.
And so at that point you were 4 years younger than you are now, so you were in the 16-year-old?
17, yeah.
And you did a 192-pound snatch.
292, I think.
291.
291.
Yes. My PR used to be 266. And then I PR like 30 pounds.
So your PR was 266 coming into the games in 2017, and then you PR'd at the games at 291 at 17
Oh
years
yeah,
old.
yeah.
What happened? How'd you do it?
I don't know, like in the warm up area, we were setting the bar and like practicing the loading the bar, what they're gonna do at the event. So in the warm up area, the black plate were was 10 pounds. Then when I got to the field, the black one would be like 15. So I just put it and lift, put and lift, put and lift, and I didn't know how much was in the bar. So I was just like putting the weights and lifting, putting the weights and lifting. So when the judge said that I just snatched 291, I like couldn't believe that. Like, "What? Did I do this?" So yeah, I was like surprised, and like people work like crazy because they know the weight, they knew the weight, but I didn't, and it was like crazy. I just figured out that I PR and like how much in kilos I just did the snatch. Like after I got into the warm up area again with my coach and all, like to know like, oh shit, yeah, I snatched 291 pounds, like 132 kilos. It was crazy.
And when you went back home, were you able to snatch that again, or was that just something that you can only do on accident?
Yeah, then I just lived above that. I think this year, yeah. I don't know. Then I compete in the next year in 2018, the final of the year after an injury, lower back injury, and I did 300, and then I went to Egypt and did 308.
You competed in Egypt?
Yeah, I was invited to join a team, a local team of Egypt, and the guys like knew me, and they called me to go. I just have to the ticket to go, and I competed in Egypt. It was very nice experience.
Brian, have you ever heard of a
And
CrossFit competition in Egypt?
There was
uh,
actually supposed to be a sanctional in Egypt called L-Fit, but it got
yeah,
canceled in the COVID year.
yeah, like in 2018, it wasn't a sanctioned event. It was like a normal competition, and then I went as team with a team of three in 2019. No, in 2000. Yeah, in 2020, it became a sanctioned event. I was invited, but the pandemic screwed up.
Actually, Sevan, kind of a cool story. The guy who runs that competition, L-Fit in Egypt, he used to be a national level handball player for the United States. He's a phenomenal athlete himself. Very cool guy. I met him in Dubai, I believe.
Oh, cool. I didn't know him. Yeah. Then
Who taught you how to Olympic lift?
yeah, my coach Enrique. Before he got into the CrossFit like coaching and all that stuff, he was formed in Olympic lift. So when I start CrossFit, like doing the normal classes at the gym at the box, like I had a very good base of Olympic lift. We have also Eduardo and Dragos that they are like the coaches from the national team, like the Brazilian team of Olympic lift and all this stuff. So I had a great base of Olympic lift
Okay, so you were
from them.
dealing with real Olympic lifting coaches. By real, I mean people who were super specialists, and they were training the
Yeah,
Brazilian national team in Olympic lifting.
yeah, from Romania, and he also coached Fernando Reis, that's like the strongest guy in South America, in America. Also Jacqueline, and very good athletes from the Olympics.
What do you think when you see the other guys lift? Do you feel like giving them some pointers? Your
Like,
position, you go from a human to a stick figure. The second you touch your bar, your body just moves at these angles that the other bodies aren't moving at, and your grip seems narrower. You're more upright. Um, it's just crazy to watch, and every lift looks the same. It
Yeah.
looks like you could snatch 5,000 pounds.
Thing like I always try to maintain the technique, like lifting light weights, lifting heavy weights like lightweight. So I'm very like concentrating and maintain the technique and the right form to do the perfect like movement, uh, clean and snatch. All of
Are your
them.
mom and dad here?
No, they are in Brazil.
Do you have any family here?
No, actually, I have just my friends that train with me and live in my city. They came up, and that's it. My coach also is here, and that's it.
Uh, your friends. So your friends are in the stands,
Yeah, they are
and they're screaming your name, Guy.
a lot, and they have no voice today.
Um, how has the how have the fans, how have the attendees of the CrossFit Games been treating you? It seems like I'm only watching on TV, but it seems like they love you.
Yeah, like I'm showing like my work, my job, and they're liking and they're enjoying, and I'm super happy to have them here, and they are helping me a lot in the events, like cheering and like yelling my name and all that stuff, and I'm just like retributing. Is correct? Paying
Say,
back. Yeah, paying back.
um, you did the first event, and you took 22nd place. Did you
Hmm.
know that was? Were you mentally prepared to dig a hole right out of the beginning, out of the on the first day? Did you know that was going to happen?
Like I swam a lot before the games, and I knew it that the swim. I was excited to do the swim event because of the swim, but I didn't know about the kayakis. Initially, we thought that would be on the paddle, like that we have to like lay up and all that stuff. And I used to surf, so I thought like, yeah, maybe I can do this like well. Then in the swim in 2017, this is a good story. I took like before the last, like
Second to
yeah,
last.
yeah, this one, and in the swim run, like and it was a mess. And then we train a lot my swim technique and a lot of volume. So I was excited to do the swim event, and I took 22nd, but like I was in front of a lot of guys that used to swim at the games. So this one was my first time swimming like with the guys. Like this whole mess like in the beginning, so like punches and elbows like just flying. I was very scared of my fins, of someone like pick my fins and let go. So it was like a mess. I got scared, but I think that was a good result. After that, because I got out of the water like in a good position, like for me, you know. So it was good.
So you got in the kayakis, and what do you know what place you were in when you got in the kayakis?
Maybe like four guys I think that passed me in the kayak, so I was maybe in 16th or something like this, or 15,
Hey,
16.
hey Guy, you can't call it kayakis when it's kayak, and then I start calling it kayakis to copy you, and then you switch back to kayak. You can't do that. I'm trying to
Sorry, sorry.
assimilate. I'm trying to assimilate. If you're gonna say the word funny and I say it funny, then we got to stay on the same page. And now you're making me look bad. You're making me look bad.
What's the correct?
It's kayak.
Kayak. Okay.
Yeah, but
That's
I was calling it kayakis because you called it kayakis, and I just like the
okay.
way it sounds.
Kayak. Okay.
Okay, so you finished that event, and how do you feel? Are you like, oh shit? Did people pass you when you were on the kayak then? So like 5 or 6 people passed you.
Yeah.
Did you pass
Like
Pat Vel? Go ahead.
I was pedaling like in a good pace, but the guys were in the same pace, but they were like faster, and I was like, "What's happening here?" Like I'm pedaling, but it was good. Like in the final of the event, I took second, 22nd, and I was like, "Okay, like this is the definition." Like I was like, "Okay, let's go to the next one."
Did you pass Pat Vellner when you were kayaking? Because he took 35th.
I think that I didn't pass him. I think that I got out of the water first than him.
Okay, because that would be great if you passed Pat. Because Pat was saying the same thing. He said he was looking around and the boats were just passing him and he couldn't figure
Yeah,
it out. He's like, "What's going on here?"
as much like we can like paddling, like it's not no. You're I'm not going anywhere. You know, like the fin was this.
Then we have the second event. You do sixth place. You do amazing, and then we go to the third event, and uh, that was the only event. I think the top 5 finishers were in your heat, even though you weren't in the final heat. Is that correct, Brian?
Yep.
And that was the 500-meter sprint or 550?
Yeah, 502 meters,
502 meters. Okay.
50 yards.
So, do you think that everyone ran an extra second or two faster because of you?
Yeah, Pat just told me that. Oh, thank you for making us faster.
It's pretty crazy. Did you have any idea that you were going to win that event?
Yeah, I had like I used to be very fast in the school Olympics. I was very fast, and I won all the events of sprinting, like 50 meters, 100 meters. So when this sprint event came up, or came out,
Yep.
I was like, okay, like God's not 1K, but like I think that I can win it. And then my coach started like, oh, we're gonna we have to practice the running, we gotta practice the pace, we gotta practice all the strategy. And I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, I want to practice the sprint. I just want to suffer at the time that I got to suffer at the event. But he was like, okay, we have to do. So I did maybe 3 sprint train workouts, and then I was like just moving with the bag. How's it? Como enquanto com a barriga. I was like, yeah, procrastinating the sprint running practice. And then before the event, I was very tired because we had already 2 events and it was like back and forth. We didn't rest between them, so I was very like lazy. I didn't want to warm up. The guys were just like sprinting and running, and I was like, okay, let's get started. I gotta rest. And and like minutes before the event, I just prayed and thank God, give me the first place at this event. So I was like tingling, like shaking before the event. Like my legs was like were a little shaking, and I was like, okay, let's do this. It's time to suffer. So I just did, and it was a good one.
So when you say your legs were shaking, you're saying that you were just getting like how soon before they said go? Like 5 minutes before or 30 seconds
Or
before?
like 30 seconds. I was like the start line, like shaking, and my legs were like not like strong, you know, like hard. But I just like leave all that I had at
And that's it.
the
That's an adrenaline rush you were having. That was your body getting ready.
maybe I think and a little bit nervous about the event, and a little bit of each.
And then when you take off, you just break out to the front. Was there any pushing or shoving or?
Mm, no, but I was like in third. The guys like was just like close to me, and I
Uh-huh.
was like middle. So I was like, no way, man. I gotta like punch them also if they push me, if they punch me. So I was just I just got into the middle in the like in the middle of them down there and Murad, I think, and I just got in the front with Downer, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna lose for you. So let's go, let's keep it up, and we did a great
Were you
job.
thinking to were you thinking to yourself? Were you thinking there's no way I'm losing to this old man?
Yeah, I was like, I'm not losing to him. Like I'm not here. Like when I'm very competitive, so if I have someone like very close to me, I won't let him beat me. You know,
Well,
never.
he had an incredible time. It's
Yeah,
interesting. That's really cool that he thanked you. Maybe he was the one who shared that with Brian and I, that that it was because of you that they ran so fast. But basically, you helped everyone in that heat. Then
yeah. They
I
told
did.
me, oh, thank you.
Pat told me that you and him were hanging out a lot yesterday because you were like next to each other in the Coliseum.
Mhm.
Did you learn anything from him? Did he teach you anything? The tricks of the trade?
What are you talking about? Uh,
Like did
yeah, we are just
Pat
talking
tell
about
you any?
the event and all that stuff. I can't remember. Oh, about the clean event, like the weights, the pace. So he was just like talking about his strategy a little bit and how he thinks that the event would like happen. So like yeah, he's a nice guy. I just met him here at the games now, and he's a nice guy. Like he's funny, and yeah, I'm trying to extract something from him.
has any part of you started thinking about next year's games already?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, you already have a plan for the training, how it's gonna be. My coach just said that I will be running a lot, swimming, and skiing. So that's it. We're gonna get all the events that I took more than 10th, and you're gonna work on these movements and this type of workout.
Brian, is your AC on in your hotel room?
No.
Oh, okay. Um, so speaking about the running event, the that was a big thing because we saw you win the sprint, and then today we saw the mile and a half run, toes to bar, mile and a half run, and you didn't do nearly as well in that. You took 27th in that. Did you? So you
Yeah.
didn't have a long. You didn't do long running growing up. You're an explosive athlete by training.
Yeah, I'm explosive athlete, but we were working a lot on my technique of running and volume. But since the Open and the semifinals, that we knew it that would be online, we just like move our action, no, our focus to movements that could happen on the online competition. So we didn't run a lot, but after that we like we run a little bit, but not the sufficient. Yeah, they good one to get used to the running. You know,
How much do you weigh?
so in pounds 200, I think.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow. And how tall are you?
I think in 5'8", 5'7". I don't know. I like 177 centimeters. I don't know.
There's no way you're 200 pounds and 5'8". Something. What's 177 centimeters? Does anyone know?
Let me see.
It's amazing that you're so heavy. You look so lean. I guess it's the same with Fikowski, although this year
Density.
what density?
Dense. Muscle
Yeah,
mass.
yeah, and that would explain one of the reasons why it looks like when he yanks that weight off the floor, like it doesn't weigh anything.
5'8", 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8". 5'8".
Guy, I want to tell you a couple things
Tell me.
and get your reaction. In the history of the CrossFit Games, there is only 2 men who've ever won 3 events in their first rookie season as an individual. You're
Who?
one of them, and Brent Fikowski is the other.
Damn.
How cool is that?
That's crazy.
Let me tell you another one. Let me tell you
Tell
another
me.
one. In the history of the CrossFit Games on the men's side, with 3 event wins this year, you are already tied for 10th all time on the all-time event wins list.
Wow. There's only
And
10
check out
other
this,
there's
Sevan.
only 10 other athletes who've won 3 events in the CrossFit Games. That's what you're saying?
There are 9 who've won more than 3. He's tied
Okay.
with a couple guys at 3. Check out the guys you're tied with already. In 1 year, you're tied with Ben Smith, Matt Chan, Patrick Vellner, Jonakowski, Scott Panchik, Lucas Hogberg, and Nate Schrader. 1 year to tie with those guys for
And
event
Scott
wins.
Panchik took him. He just got there this year, right?
Prior to this year, he only had 1.
It's crazy.
Damn.
So crazy. And there's still
Yeah.
3 more
There's-
events to go. Hey, what if he wins one of these next 3 events? What has anyone ever won 4 events their rookie year?
Fikowski won 4 in 2016.
So I gotta won 5.
So you have to win 2 more events. Are you surprised with how well you're doing it all? Or do you wish you were doing better? Or what? Sorry, I didn't mean to ask that as a loaded question like that.
Yeah, like half and half. Like I have a mindset that I'm the best. I'm the best in what I'm doing. I'm the best, like no matter what, best. And other side, like prior to the games, I was a little bit worried because I was feeling a little bit tired. Like 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I was feeling tired. I was feeling good. I wasn't feeling good to perform at the games, and I was very like I got fear, about the cuts, about the events, how I would perform, and all that kind of thing. But now, like having the weekend that I'm having right now, half surprised and half knowing that I belong here and this is my place. This is what I train for. So it's half and half. It's a good feeling. Like, and also, God is surprising me, as my mom told me when I was back in Brazil.
Uh, it's interesting. That's the second time you brought up God. The first time you said that you prayed to God to win the race, and then your legs started shaking. Maybe
See his shirt, Sevan?
maybe that was God talking to you. Do I see his shirt? No, I can't see him. I lost image of him. I can't see him.
He just showed us his shirt. It says God is good.
Oh, yeah,
Great shirt.
it's my brand.
Do you have a sponsor, Guy?
Yeah, I have a couple.
Who are your sponsors?
Damn, I can't forget them because like like it was mad. Like if I forgot anyone.
Okay,
So,
I'll ask. Shall I ask you again in 2 minutes?
No,
and
no,
we'll-
he's just saying he doesn't want to forget anyone.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
like I have supplements of Dux Nutrition. I have equipment from UltraWatt. I have a sponsorship of watches like Polar. Onset Fitness that like actually built this shirt, and they have all they sponsor me like little kit, and they give me all that I need, like all equipments, like wrist wraps and all that kind of thing. Shoes, I have a lot of shoes. I like very addicted to shoes, and they gave me all of them. Um, Caffeine Army, it's a coffee that I take
Ca-
every morning.
Caffeine Army. Is that what you said?
Yeah, Caffeine
That's a
Army.
good name.
That I take every day in the morning. It helps me a lot.
Hey, do you
Guy, do
have
you
to
have
do you
any?
have to work? Do you have to work, Guy, or does your sponsors cover all your expenses?
They cover all of them.
I wonder if you're going to win Rookie
Guy,
of the Year. Congratulations on having sponsors that make it so
he's
you can do
technically
this full
not. He's
time.
technically not a rookie, Sevan. He competed in 2019, but he only got to do 2 events, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't a good one, a good year about the cuts. So I'm considering that this is my like first real games, like with all the events and going to the Coliseum. Like yesterday was my first time. Before the yesterday was my first time at Coliseum. So like this has been my rookie year. But
Guy,
I'm
do you have
glad.
a shoe? Guy,
Go
do you
ahead,
have a
Brian.
shoe sponsor?
Um, we are working on it.
So were you wearing Reeboks for any of your event wins this weekend?
Yes, I had
That's a pretty
to.
nice little bonus, huh?
Oh yeah,
Hey, do
I
they come up
already
do they come up to you right after you win with a check?
the sorry.
When do you get your money? Like, how, do they walk up to you
I
right
don't
after
know.
you win? And like, has
Yeah, I
anyone
don't
talked to
know.
you about it? Has anyone talked
Not
to you about
yet,
it?
not yet. I think that only in the final. I think.
Oh, they need someone who's like right there. They need like a dude. Brian, you should volunteer to do that for Reebok. Wouldn't that be great? Right after someone wins an event with Reebok shoes, you just run over to them and get their name and number and be like, "We'll cut you a check." That's when they need
Yeah,
to say it.
yeah. We signed a contract saying that. Oh, I agree with the bonus prizes and all this stuff. But I don't know like when they're gonna talk to me and talk to the winners.
Guy, who had you sign that? CrossFit has you sign that?
No, just report.
How do they find you? Because they're not really at the event, right? I mean,
Yeah, like they posted that they were like giving the bonus prizes, and we had to send them an email and
okay.
like just like I want to get the bonus prizes, and they send us an email with a contract, and we had to
Okay.
sign, and that's it.
Okay, so it's not something you could do last minute. If you wouldn't have sent that in, but you wore Reeboks, you wouldn't get the prize.
Yeah.
Oh, that kind of takes the fun out of it. But getting the money doesn't take the fun out of it. Well, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. I
That
already got 29 in total.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Whoa.
That is nuts. So you were wearing Reebok in all 3 events.
In the running not don't, but in the clean event and the snatch day, yes, I was.
You weren't wearing lifters during the snatch event.
Yeah, I don't
Do
like
you
it.
not? Wow.
Me neither.
Yeah, like I think that most like it's more than 1 year or 2 years that I don't like to use lifters. I just lift on my shoes
So
and no belt.
you used to use them, but now you don't.
Yeah, in the
Oh, that
beginning. Yeah,
and you
then I
and you probably just
do
used them because someone told you to, or everyone else was doing it, and then finally one day you started lifting without them, and you're like, "Fuck that! I don't need these."
exactly. And belt also. I don't used to use belt.
You don't use a belt anymore, or you used to. Explain that to me. You weren't using a belt
Yeah,
today.
I don't use anymore. Like more than 2 years, I think. Also,
You
this is that
mentioned
I
you had a
joined.
lower. You mentioned you had a lower back injury in 2018. You would think that after that you would use the belt, but no.
Yeah, until this injury, I used to use it, and then I just discovered that we have a belt, a natural belt. So this is the core that's most like known by everyone. So when I got the back injury, my treatment was doing a lot of strengthening of my core and stabilization. And then when I got back from the injury, I was much stronger than I actually was before it. So then, in the next year after the injury, I just create a program that calls Strong Base that works specifically on the core strength and the to help people to get like stronger, preventing injuries and getting stronger and confident with their bodies.
And you developed that program?
Yeah, me and my coach.
That's awesome. Do you guys sell it?
Yeah.
You want to tell us what website to go to so people can be like Guy?
It's on my bio and Instagram, and there are a few swipe ups. My team from Brazil, the agency that take care of the that kind of thing, is working there like a lot, and we are selling now for a good price, a good discount for like because I won two events without a belt, and it was a lot of weights, so we are selling like in commemoration commemoration promotion.
Guy, I'm going to say something to you, but I don't know what it is. And then you tell me what I said to you, okay? Ready?
Yeah.
Vamos Brazil porra. Muito, muito foda esse último evento todos aqui bem feliz.
Yeah. Say it again. Say it again.
Okay, I'll do it in, just in two sentences. It's from Ricardo Garcia. He wants me to say to you, Vamos Brazil porra. Porra.
Yeah.
What's that
Let's
mean?
go. Let's go, Brazil. Um,
And
Porra is kind of yeah.
muito,
Let's fucking go, Brazil.
mhm.
And the rest,
Es
what is it?
muito foda esse último evento todos aqui bem feliz.
So dope. We are very happy here in Brazil.
That's
So
awesome.
fucking awesome. We are very happy in Brazil. Like this.
Ricardo said that. And Ricardo, thank you for the money. You're a good dude. And another guy, David Borders, gave us money. He says he loves the show, hates sugar, and think masks are a good idea. What? You're 66% a cool dude. No, actually, you're more than that. Thank you, David. Alexis Gutierrez gave us $20. Keep these podcasts coming. You guys got Guy and Danielle Brandon. You guys are amazing. I know. I can't believe we got Guy. Guy, why did you do this? Isn't it a bad idea to talk to two strangers who could distract you during this important week? What are you doing?
Like one more time, I asked God for a place, a spot, for the stack, a highlight spot. You know, like a good spot, like that people can see me. So this is just happening. So I'm very happy to be here, like talking to you guys, and very nice to meet you here, also.
Well, thank you. What was life like as a boy? Where did you grow? What was your life like as a young boy, like from the age of 0 to 5? What was
Zero
life?
to five,
Did you have both your parents around? Did you have brothers and
yeah,
sisters? Yeah,
always.
big family.
Only child, yeah,
Okay.
only one child. So from 0 to 5, I used to climb on the windows, trees, stairs, escalators. I was very active kid, and I used to fight in judo. So from 0 to 5, I was very active and very like sport kid, and I used to fight in judo.
So you're an only child. So do you have a little bit of a prince complex? Because my first child, I call him Prince Avi. And I figure if you're an only child, you must have gotten too much love.
Yeah, I had. Thank God.
And then what did you do after the age of 5? Did you continue with judo? How long did you continue with judo?
Until I moved to my actual city, from like I think 3 to 9, I think 9 or 8. I got to the yellow belt.
Okay. And then what was your next sport after judo?
Um, a lot of them like surf, skate, BMX, um, a little bit of parkour. What else?
Do you still like parkour? Do you ever do it anymore?
Like I like to jump things and do some things with my body, like for example, the old course. I love it. My grandpa used to be an army man. He was, I don't know, like general, I think. I don't know the official. He was a big guy in there,
Yeah, the
and he
general's the big
was,
guy. The general's the big guy.
yeah, and he was the number one of that old course in the army. So
Oh,
I
the
think,
O course, the obstacle course. Gotcha. Okay.
yeah, obstacle course, and I kind of got it from him, I think, but I didn't knew him. He died before I born, so I just heard about it.
Gotcha. And and then eventually you got into basketball. You're saying that was your last sport.
Yeah, from 11 or 10 to my 15 years old.
And your parents were super supportive. Your parents came to all your events and they loved on you hard and they
Yeah, like they all always support me in whatever like I would like to do. Like in the surf, they gave me the board. When I was riding bikes, they gave me the BMX, the skateboard. They bought me all that stuff, the helmet, the board also. They always support me,
Do you have a
always,
girlfriend?
always. Yeah, I have almost wife next year.
Wow. And how long have you been with her?
Um, in the time that was here, like 12 July 12th, we did 1 year together, but we met two.
And you're already thinking about getting married?
Oh yeah, she's the one of my life, for sure.
It's hard to tell. So to Americans, all Brazilians look attractive. So like I can't tell. Like do a lot of girls like you in Brazil? Are you an attractive Brazilian man? Because we can't tell. Because Americans think that all Brazilians, we just see you and we're like, wow, those are good looking people.
Like I don't know. I don't like used to see about it, to know about it, but I'm just like concentrating my girlfriend. I
Good
don't know.
man.
Yeah.
Because you would think, here's the thing. Here's where I'm going with that. You're 21 years old. You're
Hmm.
super duper focused on this sport, and man, like at 21 years old, the only distraction in life could be girls. And so I
Hmm.
guess, I guess you found the woman of your dreams, and she tolerates your obsession with CrossFit.
What?
She
Sorry?
tolerates your obsession with CrossFit.
Oh yeah, for sure. When I know her, she already do CrossFit, but she didn't know me. And then she like started like knowing that like who I am, who I was, an athlete, and knowing in Brazil. But now like she's super happy. Like she loves see me training, and she loves the passion that I have to the sport, the discipline, and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, she just loves and tolerates a lot, and like help me a lot in my performance.
I have one last question for you, and thanks for all your time. And maybe Brian has another question for you. Here you are, 21 years old. You're in sixth place at the CrossFit Games. Bjork Carl Goodmanson is what? Did I screw it up? Bjorgen?
It's
BKG's
one
above.
thing, Sevan. It's one thing if you get a guy wrong if it's his first year here, but this is Bjorgman's seventh or eighth year. Come on, man.
Bjorgvin Carl Goodmanson. He's above you. Below you is Alex Vigneault, Yana Koski, Scott Panchik, Travis Meyer, Noah Olson. I mean, there's a lot of big names in this group. and here you are sitting with them, Justin, Patrick Vellner, Brent Fikowski. Is any part of you like starstruck or like, holy shit, these were the guys that I was watching, and now I'm run like you were in the field next to the bulls, and now you're in the cage with the bulls.
Like for me, it's like normal. I feel like this place is my place. With the better
Bulls
athletes in the
with the
world.
bulls.
So yeah, so I feel like no difference. They are human. I'm a human. So what they can do, I can do, and maybe even better. So I'm not afraid of them or something like this, and I'm not also like holy shit, I'm here with them. So I just feel like normal. It's normal for me, and that's it. That's it. I'm not worried about them. Like I know that they are like very known in the world, but I don't scare of them.
Awesome.
Guy, the competition this year has been tough. There's been 12 events, a lot of different stuff, long events, short events, intense, big
Mhm.
competition. You're the youngest guy in the field. Do you think that your body's feeling better than some of these guys and you got a little bit of an edge tomorrow?
I think so. I think so. Yeah. My body recovery very fast, and I know that. I know that, and my body feels great today. Like I'm not feeling so sore. Like they actually being being it. Like I think that they are sore than me. So I think that my body can recover better than them and to perform like better. I think.
Are your hands ripped?
How? What is this? Oh yeah, I got in the I maybe in the last backboard ascent. Shit. Yeah. Maybe in the last I think. But it's okay. Just put on tape on it and let's
Tough that
go.
out for one day.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Guy. I really appreciate your time. This was great. I never thought while Brian and I were doing the show we would actually get athletes to participate in the show during the week, and you and Vellner and Danielle Brandon and a few others have been so courteous to come on, and thank
Hey,
you.
Guy, have you talked to the Jukic brothers at all, Lazar and Luca?
yeah, a little bit. Maybe actually he make fun of me like if I sit beside you, can I get some strength of you? And I say yeah, a little bit.
Those are good guys.
Yeah,
Because
they are.
those guys, like they're fun like you are, and they're also young like you are, and I think that you might be competing against them for a few years, which would be really cool.
Yeah, let's go. It's
Have you
gonna
ever
be
met
fun.
any Serbians before?
Huh?
Have you ever met any Serbians, real Serbians before?
No, 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 never.
Yeah,
First
me
time.
neither. That was my first time meeting real Serbians too.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah,
They
it
they
is nice.
speak a different language. Like it's nice to like to hear, but I can't understand anything. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, davai, yeah, I can
And they have a
understand.
great sense of humor.
Yeah.
All right, well, will you tell Felipe we say thank you, and we'll be in touch. Thank you very much, and good luck tomorrow. We'll
Sure.
all be watching.
Thank you so much for the attention, for the invite. I really appreciate it. The invite, and it was like huge privilege and pleasure to know you guys. And that's it. Let's keep in touch. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
okay, we'll do it again. We have your
I'll f-
phone number.
Guy,
Let's
I'll
go.
find you tomorrow and say hi, Guy.
Nice. Let's go. It will be
Okay,
nice.
All right, get
Thank
some
you so
rest,
much.
man. One more day, go attack it.
Let's go. See ya.
bye. Wait, don't you
See ya.
guys say something in Brazil like obrigado, or what do you say when you
O-
say bye?
Obrigado.
Obrigado. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao,
Or
or
you can say valeu.
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 Valeu is like bye, but informal way of saying it. Saying it.
Okay,
Like, valeu,
valeu.
valeu, valeu. Thank you so much.
And he's out.
That was awesome, man.
That's
So cool
cr-
of him to jump on and do that.
Look at this show. Look at this show. These ragtag guys putting a show together. There were There was money coming in. Philly B, thank you. Guy for Rookie of the Year. Gina Bartoli, thank you. Best games content from the CEO and Hot Brian. Damn, it's amazing how many girls think you're cute. It's crazy to me. You're just a nerd to me who's into the games. I cannot believe what a player you are. Nearly 3 a.m. in Ireland. Big up Andy and Madeira, Malheiros. What an event. Have some money since you are good dudes. The best content. Clive McLaughlin. Thanks, man.
Damn, that's
Kind
an
words.
Irish name right there.
And yeah, it's 20 pounds. That's like real money in the United States. That's probably more than $20, right? That's like $35. Mitch Rostad, thank you for all what you guys do. Thank you, Mitch. And all there started becoming a bunch of writing and someone said he would have stayed with the Butter Boys for a full hour. I feel bad. I feel bad talking to him for that long when he has to work tomorrow. Okay.
Well, the
Uh,
nice thing today was that competition ended relatively early. It was actually still light outside when I left the Coliseum, and I mean, this is probably a pretty normal bedtime for an athlete on competition day.
uh, I guess I would just, if I was an athlete, I wouldn't want to talk to strangers because I wouldn't want anyone to say anything stupid and get in my head, especially
Well, you
someone
don't
like
get hit
you.
up by the CEO every day.
Um, true, true. Tia Toomey, 1,145 points, 30 event wins. Past Matt Fraser,
31,
um,
31 now.
31. Okay. Uh, is there anything you want to say about her? Um, she's
Yeah, you
talented.
know what's kind of cool?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking back to last year, and at the ranch, occasionally someone would challenge Fraser or Toomey in an event, but for the most part, they were just pretty much dominating. And the nice thing about having a bigger field this year is that there's, more athletes who have the capacity to push her here or push her there. And so it's, she's not winning every event. She's taking some fourth, fifth, sixth, whatever. But in most of the events that she's winning, it's not going away. Like there's someone there that's nipping at her heels. There's someone there that's challenging her on the barbell or the running or the AMRAP today. I mean, she only got a couple reps more than Danielle Brandon. And it's cool to see how she just rises to that little extra, that last degree to make sure that she pushes that person away, pushes that person away, pushes that person away. And when I think about other sports, I don't know if I've talked much about disc golf on here, but there's a lot of different guys who have specialty shots. But the best guys in the world, they're as good at your specialty shot, no matter what your specialty shot is. If you have a good forehand, they can match the forehand. If you have a good backhand, they can match the backhand, and et cetera, et cetera. And that's Tia in CrossFit. You're good at lifting, so is she. You're good at running, so is she. You can go long, so can she. You can swim, and she has it all. And it's cool to see her fend off competitor and challenger event after event.
That's an amazing observation. That's a great observation. There were great lifters in there today, and she beat them. There were great
Hey,
runners in
check
there
this
today.
out, by the way,
Go ahead.
because the
Yeah.
second best lifter today was Annie Thorsdottir, and I'm sure everyone who watched that saw how the surprise on her face when she hit that weight. So two things there. It's a post-pregnancy PR. If she'd have hit 205, it would have been a lifetime PR. And she had no idea how much weight was on the bar because everything was happening too fast for her to convert to kilos. And I mean, she was talking about it, I think, in both the interview after that event, which I was very happy that they pulled her aside and talked to her instead of Tia, because we've talked to Tia a bunch. We're going to hear from her again tomorrow, of course. But she was also talking about at the press conference how she's starting for the first time since having a child last year, about 12 months ago, to feel comfortable mentally and physically with her body again. And it was actually cool to listen to her talk about. You could like see her mind and like starting to grasp that I'm able to do the things and push myself in a way I used to. And that was like pretty emotional and exciting for her.
And she started crying when she walked away. It was crazy emotional. And let
He
me
did.
point this out. Tia did not necessarily beat her. They both lifted 200
Right?
and they both failed 205. And so, of course,
Yeah.
the event has to pick a winner. So they have they had the little
But
sprint at the
we
end.
have to take a
But
little intermission here and acknowledge that there was one female at the games this year who snatched over 200 pounds, and it was 15-year-old Olivia Kerstetter in the
you guys
teenage
heard that
division.
right. Maybe you should say that one more time, Brian, so people really can take that in. Who lifted the most
Tia,
weight of any female at the games this year in a snatch?
15-year-old Olivia Kerstetter. The heaviest lift for any woman of any age at the games this year, 202 pounds in the youngest division at the games. Olivia, if you don't know her, she trains with Jacob Hepner and has been for several years. Last year, we did not get to see her at the games because of the teenage division not being there. And here's a lift, 202 pounds, more than Tia Claire Toomey successfully snatched today, more than any woman in the elite women's field snatched.
Is there any way we can make that bigger? Can you like double click on that and make that bigger? Does that work? That's her 202-pound lift right there.
It was a PR for her, and she did it in competition. Go check out her Instagram. She talks about it. She says it there. 17-pound PR. And it actually reminds me of what Guy was talking about when he PR'd in the teenage division. The only thing is, she did it at 2 years younger, 15 years old. His 292 would have been second place to Royce Dunn today. But
Yeah.
that is that what she. I mean, the fact that she did that, and look, we know that it's the 11th event for the elite individuals, but that wasn't the first event of the weekend for the teenagers either.
I wonder what the American record is for a snatch for a 15-year-old. Do you have any idea what that is, Ryan? That'd be crazy to find that out.
Well, I certainly don't.
Joe, thank you so much. Oh man, I know this guy from my Instagram, and I see his last name. It's like one of the accounts when he DMs me. I look at it often, but I've never tried to say his last name out loud. I don't know if I should try. Joe Bracamonte.
I think he messaged me today too, and I showed the person who was next to me at the time. I was like, "That's a strong last name right there."
Yeah, it is a strong last name, right? 6999. This 99 thing is fucking killing me. Joe, you're too kind. Thank you. Bo has given money before. Thanks, dude. He said thank y'all for a great interview. He must be from the South. He said thank y'all for that great interview. He drives a pickup truck.
Bo's a good Southern name anyway.
Bo Hasey. Hasey. Oh, good point. Laura Horvath, she is living up to expectations. 939 points. She's doing what she needs to do to stay in the running. A fifth and a third place in events 11 and 12. Were you concerned after the run at all when she took 15th place?
No, we talked about it earlier today. I thought that was a good damage control type of a workout for her. That was exactly in the middle of the pack when there were 30 women left. Event 11 was, that pegboard, and I was a little nervous in the first couple rounds. She was like, just the way her weight was resting on the wall seemed to be different than the other women out there, but she managed that super well to, fifth place, and then really pretty solid on the lift, taking third behind Tia and Annie. So, I'm super happy for her. I think that this is an affirmation of what I thought, which was that 2018 year was not a fluke, and that the last 2 years have been tough for her for a variety of different reasons, some of which are off the competition floor. We still haven't seen a handstand push-up of any kind this weekend. It's possible we'll get one tomorrow, and it's possible she'll have a bad finish in that workout, but she's got a 105-point buffer on third place, and I think that her position there in second is just as solidified as Tia's is in first. And the real excitement on the women's side tomorrow, and obviously we want to celebrate Tia and Laura doing great, is what's going on in that battle for third.
I want to ask you what you meant about Laura Horvath in just a second. About you said she had some other hardships. I want to know what those are. But Bruno just said, "Hey, Sevan, Chloe Smith, 19 years old, snatched 202 pounds, and got first in American Junior Nationals." So this 15-year-old tied the 19-year-old. I guess CrossFit will make you strong.
She needs to enter into an Olympic lifting competition. Like that's incredible.
Yeah, that is incredible. Paul. Oh man, here we go. Sorry, Paul. Paul gave a generous $20, but man, Paul Ottenheim. Oh, we froze. Can you hear me? Check. 1, 2. Hello. We got our $20 and we just cut out. Is that what happened? Wham, and we're back. Brian froze. Someone else said this, which is interesting. A lady on the demo team today snatched 225 pounds. I wonder if that's true. Great. That's a great point, Sunil Motwani. Wouldn't it be epic if Annie made the podium? It would be epic for two reasons, because Brian had her above Katrin's daughter for on the all-time list. Brian had Annie above Katrin, and people were complaining about that. but I think Annie is proving Brian's point that that she deserves to be ahead. I mean, this is Annie. Annie needs to be talked about significantly after the games. Hopefully, she'll come on the show. This is crazy impressive. And Brian's gone. You guys are stuck with me. Alyssa Ballard is a 15-year-old American record holder at 185 pounds. Dan the Man said that. Yeah, so that's crazy, isn't it? Some young lady, Olivia, trains with Jacob Hepner out of a CrossFit gym in the middle of America, and she snatched 202 pounds today. And you can go watch it on her Instagram. Olivia, do you know her last name, Ryan? Olivia, what was her last name? Don't make me try it. Don't make me try it. Creston Hammer? Creston Hemer? Creston? So the only person who can read on our podcast has left the building. Oh, Rosie donated $1. You're good. You're a good woman. S. Rosie too. I think you're a woman. Rosie. I appreciate it. Thank you. Tia Claire Toomey with 1,145 points. Laura Horvath with 939. Kristen Holta with 834. I think a lot of people are not surprised by Kristen Holta. I do think she surprised Brian a little bit. Annie Thorsdottir with 824, really making a statement on so many levels that she's a comeback athlete, which has got to be hard. She wasn't even sure if she wanted to be part of the show 2 months ago. She just had a baby, and she's been around forever. I remember her showing up to the games in 2009. And she was just it was just something she found on the internet, CrossFit, and she just wanted to try it, and so she came out to the games, which is nuts. And then we have Haley Adams in 5th place, and of all the athletes, we're talking about all the different emotions we're seeing on the floor from all the athletes today. She seems like today she was pretty down. Did you notice that, Brian? And obviously, I'm reading into it.
You're talking about Haley?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I was talking with a couple athletes today, and they a couple of them had this mentality. They're like, okay, enough with the heavy lifting. Give me some classic CrossFit to finish this competition. And I haven't talked to Haley, but I think that she's probably of the same mindset. And we had the heavy cleans, we had the heavy snatch. That's 3 events that you knew what weren't going to be great for her relative to the other people in the field. If there's not a heavy, like a really top end heavy lift tomorrow, and she has 3 opportunities to just hurt and go into the pain cave and do what she's best at, then I think she's in a great spot, actually. She's only 24 points out. I think she's one of the most gritty competitors in the field. I still think that she's going to be the one that ends up 3rd place.
No.
You say no?
No.
Okay, we'll find out.
Kristen Holt and Annie Thorsdottir are just too much. They are just too much. Although I will say this, after hearing you and Guy talk about the younger athletes and how their bodies recover. Brian, let's talk about the pegboard event, double unders and the overhead squat, dumbbell overhead squat. Is that a repeat event? You had sent me some stuff and told me to read it ahead of time. Instead, I took a nap. What was that I was supposed to read?
Okay, so in 2019, they had obviously a series of cuts. And after the final cut, the first event with the final 10 was called Split Triplet. That workout featured pegboard, double unders, and split dumbbell snatch and split dumbbell clean and jerk. So it was very similar in the design, with the fact that it had a dumbbell, one dumbbell, a jump rope, and a pegboard.
Okay.
So, and it was very similar in its placement of the weekend, because today, it's just called Individual Event 11, was the first workout after the final cut, which is exactly how Split Triplet was in 2019. So as I was sitting there watching that in the Coliseum, which I was in the Coliseum for that event in 2019 as all these things started happening in my mind. And I remember in 2019 being frustrated at that point with the cuts, because let me just give you a list of some people that were cut prior to that event. On the men's side, Cole Sager was cut in 11th. Travis Mayer was cut in 12th. Pat Vellner 16th, and prior to that, Brent Fikowski in 23rd, Alex Vigneault in 25th, Jeff Adler in 33rd, Jonikoski in 37th, Guy Malheiros in 48th, and Baden Brown in 104th. And all of those guys were inside the top 20 this year. So they did not get to do that event last year, but they did get to do it this year. On the women's side, that list was Daniel Brandon, Annie Thorsdottir, Laura Horvath, Brooke Wells, Emily Rolfe, Emma McQuaid. All of them were in the final round of cuts, and all are inside the top 20 now. Also, Emma Tall, Jacqueline Dahlstrom, and Gabriella Magawa were in the field that year and didn't make it to split triplet. So that was a pretty sizable field of athletes who competed but didn't get to that event. They got to do it this year. The thing that was especially notable to me is that I remember Matt Fraser and Tia Claire Toomey lapping half of the competitors on that event, which an average round took 4.5 minutes, and they were lapping half the field. And I was thinking to myself, man, if Cole Sager, Travis Mayer, Brent Fikowski, Pat Vellner, Daniel Brandon, Thorsdottir, Horvath, Wells had an opportunity to do this workout, I don't think that Fraser and Toomey would be lapping those athletes. And that's when I was just like, it's frustrating that we want to get the top 10 and have this spectacle, but we're not getting the top 10. And I know we're not getting the top 10 because the top 10 in the world might not beat Fraser and Toomey, but they're not going to get lapped by them in a classic CrossFit triplet like that. So here's the thing that I noticed today. After the event ended, and I listed out the finishes from all of those workouts, Noah Olson was second to Matt Fraser on the split triplet that year. This year, he was 11th. And the guys who beat him on this workout that didn't get a chance to do that workout 2 years ago were Sager, who obliterated this, Koski, Vellner, Malheiros, and Fikowski.
Wow.
All guys.
Wow.
Check. On the women's side, almost a parallel. Katrin Davidsdottir was third that year in that workout. And this year she was 13th. And all of these athletes who were in the field that year but didn't get a chance to do that workout beat her on this workout. And a lot of them beat her by quite a few reps. Daniel Brandon, Laura Horvath, Emma McQuaid, Annie Thorsdottir, and Jacqueline Dahlstrom.
Wow. So what do you mean, Hodson? What do you mean Rich called my bluff? What are you talking about? So are you saying that year the cuts were a mistake and this year you're questioning if they were a mistake, but you're not sure yet?
Look, I have mixed feeling about the cuts, but what I do know is that Cole Sager is a great example of this.
Right.
Cole Sager made the cut line on the cut line. He was 20th place. He won that workout, and just by winning that one workout, he jumped all the way to 10th place.
No, he's not in 10th place. He's not in 10th place now.
He was in 10th place after individual event 11. He had a bad individual event 12 and moved back 5 spots. Okay. And so while you've talked to Dave about the dead weight and not being able to move up in the leaderboard, for a guy to be able to jump up 10 spots and then move back 5 spots and still have 3 workouts left where he could again have some big shifts on the leaderboard, that to me is kind of contrary to what Dave suggested, is that there is a lot of opportunity to move up and down the leaderboard late in the weekend. And we've seen Cole Sager do that in the past too.
I lost you there for a little bit. Something didn't make sense to me. No, he was saying that there is opportunity to move up and down the leaderboard, is what you're saying. And Cole Sager showed that it's possible.
No, I think that what Dave was saying is at some point in the competition, you're out of it. And I would say that, yes, to a degree, there are certain athletes that are definitely out of it. But to cut to 10 after 6 events like we did in 2019 is pretty harsh and does not give the opportunity for athletes to express the full breadth and depth of their capacity in CrossFit.
It's interesting.
I mean, if Cole Sager had 8 less points, he wouldn't have been in that workout, and we wouldn't have seen him win that workout. And he moved up 10 spots in one workout. I mean, that's kind of crazy. I did not expect that to happen, because if you look at the morning event, when there were 10 athletes outside the cut line on the men's and women's side, and wrote an article about this earlier today, only one athlete was able to move from outside the top 10 to inside the top 10 in that one event. And it was Cole Sager and Jacqueline Dahlstrom. So in that case, one event didn't show a ton of shifting on the leaderboard, but in the very next workout, he moved up 10 more spots.
Okay, let me ask you this, because I don't think it matters how many spots he's moving around. I think it matters how many points he jumped, right? Because if you move up 10 spots and everyone's within 3 points of each other, whoop-de-doo. But if you moved up 10 spots and it's
well, whoop-de-doo, except that the prize money payout is quite different. The sponsorship,
but that just shows how close.
different.
I would argue that just shows how close the competition's been.
And that's why I want to see the competition seen out between a majority of the athletes throughout the entire weekend. And I'm not upset that we're down to 20 athletes now. I just think
Okay.
that these couple workouts, because look, the bottom, I would say that maybe the guys in 21st and 22nd could be in this mix also. And I think that what we'll see over the next, even just with these last 5 workouts, is a couple guys start to fade away. Like we talked about Enrique Apalainen, who's had an incredible weekend, but at this point, his event finishes are starting to plummet towards the bottom. And I mean, look, the CrossFit Games is a brutal beatdown of a test, and it's his first time being here. So it's not unexpected for a guy like that to tail off a little bit at the end, and a guy like Cole Sager to kind of have that finishing kick, because he has the experience and knows how to navigate the entire weekend.
Justin Medeiros has 949 points, and 20th place has 563 points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but this is where sometimes I've differed with what CrossFit has said specifically that they're testing for. If you are singularly testing for the one fittest guy on earth, then you can say anything you want and then just excuse every other decision that you make, because you're probably going to find it no matter what. I'm serious.
Right. I know. I hear you. I hear you.
But if you want to give the athletes who've gotten to this point the opportunity to work things out amongst themselves on the competition floor and say, yeah, I wasn't the fittest this year, but I was the 5th fittest. So I had a chance to prove that across 15 events and 30, 20, 40 guys, whatever it is. That means a lot to them, and it means a lot to the community, I think, because they all have their guys that they're behind. And it's like 5th is a lot better than 8th is a lot better than 12th in their minds and in their supporters' minds.
I think when we talk about the Open, it's that argument is, shut the fuck up. All we care about is the fittest. I think when we get to the games, what you're saying takes on a shit ton of validity, a shit ton, right? Like all of a sudden now, we do need to see the guys work it out a little bit. We need to see them work it out so we can carry the narrative over to the next year. There needs to be, and they need to get the experience. And all of a sudden your argument it carries a lot, for me, when I think about it, it carries a lot more weight, because I really don't care.
And
go ahead.
Let me add this also, because, and I'm not taking a shot at CrossFit. I'm just saying they have said in the past that we're testing for the fittest. But at every award ceremony, they also give an award called the most improved. And if you don't have a field to prove yourself against, in the same capacity year to year, then it's kind of weird that you'd give a most improved for someone who's moved from 25th to 8th if you don't actually care about the person in 8th and you're only looking for 1st.
Sorry, I'm listening to you. Someone said something about Rich Froning. I'm saying, someone with the name Rich Froning said Haley will beat Kristen and Annie. If you think that's really Rich Froning, you guys are smoking crack. There is no way. I will eat the socks I'm wearing if that's really Rich Froning. Rich Froning is not commenting in the YouTube section this evening at 9:25 in the PM in Madison. Man, I shouldn't have taken that nap. I'm a mess. Megan Culver, thank you. Thanks for the content, Sevan and Brian. Do you think Vellner's going to be able to catch Medeiros tomorrow? There's 3 events.
Ooh,
he's down by 42
the best question
points.
you've asked me yet.
Thank you. I'm not on my game tonight. I'm sorry, guys.
And the most difficult one to answer. So these last 2 events were very, very important for Pat. He was down by something that looked to be pretty insurmountable with the number of tests remaining. But chipping away a 5th compared to a 10th and a 3rd compared to a 7th, I think that's 45 points with this scoring system right now, is basically cutting that deficit in half. And he's going to be riding that momentum into tomorrow, thinking, okay, there's 3 events left, and I was able to accumulate 45 points, make up a 45-point gap in 2. I only have to make up 42 more points in 3. So I think he'll have every belief that he can do it, but it is not going to be easy. Justin Medeiros has been lights out this weekend. And I mean, I know that he didn't win that tie break, and I posted on my Instagram that 15 seconds, that tie break between Medeiros.
For the snatch event?
Yes, between Medeiros, Fikowski, Saxon Patrick, and Andre Houdet is to me is right now the most pivotal 15 seconds of the CrossFit Games for the men's division, because Vellner already hit the snatch. He was sitting over there on the sidelines, and you can bet everything you have that he was hoping that Medeiros would be last of those 4 guys on that tie break, and he was. And those 20 points that he got right there, those extra 20 points, are all the belief that he needs to say there's a crack in the door and I'm going to barge through it. But I have not seen a crack in Medeiros' game. Even though he didn't win that tiebreak, he matched his PR on a snatch at 285, and he actually looks pretty good going for 290, and we're 12 events in. I don't think that he's going to be attacking just as hard as Pat tomorrow, because both of these guys have every desire to stand on top of that podium. Let
me throw this in there for some data. Malheiros has a 5th, a 15th, an 11th, a 2nd, a 4th, a 6th, a 10th, and a 7th. He has not taken first place once. He has won second place. No, sorry. Oh, no. He has 2 second places. But so the good news is, the bad news for Patrick is there's 2 things that are bad for Pat. He's not in control of his own destiny. He has to have Malheiros fall below second place, and if Pat takes first place. And on top of that, Brent Fikowski's there to ruin his day. It's basically he's in the ring fighting 2 guys, right? Because he has to fight off Brent and he has to have Malheiros. But that being said, the good news for Pat is there's a chance that Malheiros could get 2 more 7th place finishes, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pat is in control of his own destiny.
Well, what I really like about the 20 athletes being in the field is a majority of the remaining competitors are serious threats to work their way in between that. I mean, if you look down at the bottom 10 guys in the field, you've got Scott Panchik, who we know can place top 3 in events, Travis Mayer, who we know can have great events, Andre Houde's had a couple good events, Noah Olson, who's due for a couple good events, Cole Sager, who's had 2 top 5s today, Jeff Adler, who's had several top 10s, including a 2nd and a 1st, Will Morad. I mean, these are legitimate guys that if Pat's able to finish 1st or 2nd on an event, and Hopper, and it's not really that unfathomable to see Malheiros have a 5th, 6th, 7th place finish tomorrow, which would not be bad. But if Pat's 1, 2, 3, then it's not good enough.
God, this is sorry. I'm going to switch subjects just a tiny bit. Imagine next year, Malheiros, let's say he gets 1 place better on every event. I mean, Justin Malheiros is making a fucking statement. If he gets 1 place better on every event next year, he'll have 2 event wins next year. If he gets 1 place even better than the following year, I mean, he's so young.
Well, that's what really is the exciting thing about this men's leaderboard is Malheiros is young, Saxon Panchik is still relatively young, Guy Malheiros is young, Lazar Jukic is young, Andre Houde's, well, he's not as young as those guys. But those 4 guys who are in the top 10 right now are all 25 or younger, I believe. And I do believe all 4 of them will be better next year than they are this year. Granted, they're healthy.
Oh, it's impressive. Okay, so do you want to pick it? Is Patrick going to catch him? I mean, I know it's like the lotto, but I got to get you.
I mean, you're basically asking. This is like asking me to pick between, like my best friend and a guy who has like come out of. Not out of nowhere, but he's just been like this shining beacon of phenomenal athletic performance all weekend. I have been absolutely blown away by Malheiros. I think Malheiros is going to hold on, and I think he's going to win by less than 10 points, but I think Malheiros is going to hold on. Everyone probably knows my heart is hoping that it goes the other way, and the only reason my heart's hoping it goes the other way is because Pat's closer to the end of his career, and I think Justin has 7 to 10 more years with an opportunity to win.
And then you think Fikowski will take 3rd?
Fikowski definitely has the potential also to pass Vellner and get 2nd, but I don't think anyone's cracking into the podium. I think Malheiros, Vellner, and Fikowski are the podium in some combination.
Brent's closer to Pat than Pat is to Justin.
Right. So, and we know that Brent Fikowski can win events, and we don't know if he's 100% healthy, but he's only got 1 event win so far. And if you told me that he had a 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place finish tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised by that either. If you're asking me to pick it right now, I think the podium tomorrow will be the same as it is right now, but I think the points will be a little bit tighter.
Someone sent me a video of one of the team competitors swimming in a life jacket. Did you see that?
Unfortunately, this week I've been able to watch very little of the team competition. There's been a guy who keeps asking me to do these live YouTube segments when the teams are competing.
Okay. That's me. I was like, who the fuck is that? Okay. And someone asked me if I had a problem with that. I guess I don't have a problem with that. Should I have a problem with that? Like, should you be allowed to wear a life jacket? I think you should be able to wear whatever you want as long as you wear the flippers
I don't know anything about that, but I did see something, or I didn't see this, but I heard something cool that happened today, and I actually commend Dave for this. To me, it's a little bit outside of the character of what I know of Dave Castro, but I really like this. It was in the team competition this morning. The team from South Africa was doing their running total bar, I think, and handstand walking workout. And each member of the team had to complete a minimum work requirement on a handstand walk. And one of the women on that team was unable to do it. And I think Dave ended up going over there. And when all the other teams are coming back on their second lap, he said, give her one more try. And if she doesn't have it, go out and finish your run and finish your workout anyway, because it was going to be their last workout of the competition. And then there was going to be the cut down to 20. And I thought that was kind of a nice, I mean, obviously the woman wants to finish her workout. Everyone who does CrossFit always wants to finish and give it their best. But in that moment, it was probably super frustrating for her and kind of embarrassing maybe in front of all the fans. And Dave went over there and gave her a little bit of reprieve and said, go out on your run again and come back in. So I kind of thought that was nice. I don't know if anything like that happened with the life jacket situation or not, but someone told me that this morning. And so I figured I'd share it here.
It's disgusting. It only validates my point that the team competition is a joke and a sideshow. I can't believe you like that shit.
Well, I'm just going to let that one go.
They're getting soft.
I mean, they made this the semifinal format this year so that they could have representation from every continent. And that team from South Africa won every event at their semifinal. And through the system that was put in place this year, they earned the right to be here, and they weren't amongst the first teams cut. So they obviously have a capacity and a tremendous amount of things. And it just so happens that that one woman on that one skill wasn't able to meet the requirement that was demanded at the CrossFit Games. Sometimes that happens. In fact, it happened to Matt Hewitt at the CrossFit Games in the year that Mayhem won the championship one year.
Fine. I still whatever. I get them off the field. They're in the way. This is big boy time. It's just making a mockery of the team.
Just say you're the one who brought the teams up, not me.
You're making a mockery of the team's event. Brooke Wells, I know we started the show with that. Did we decide, is her arm broken, and can she even come? How long does that take to heal? Does that scare you so bad that you could never do a snatch again? Will she are you just traumatized by that? Is that the end of her CrossFit career?
I don't think it's the end of her CrossFit career. I think that kind of injury happens in Olympic weightlifting from time to time. In fact, maybe even more often than that, if you're familiar with the sport and have been around it a long time. A couple things about that I thought were kind of crazy, honestly, was that happened. They took her off the floor, and within like 10 seconds, they were like, okay, Laura Horvath, it's your turn to lift this heavy weight that you just saw your fellow competitor break her arm snatching. And Laura nodded her head and said, okay. She missed her first attempt at it and then hit it. And right after that was Tia-Clair Toomey. Well, Brooke Wells and Tia-Clair Toomey have been training together all year, and you can only imagine the emotions that Tia was feeling watching that happen to someone who she cares so much about. The mental fortitude and the ability to push that out for both Laura and Tia and go hit those snatches after that happened. I mean, I'm sitting in the stands with really no emotional investment in Brooke other than the fact that I don't want to see any competitors get injured like that. And I don't think I could have stood up and hit 135 at that moment because I was like, my heart was in my stomach. So that kind of mental strength that both those women showed at that time, to me, is actually unfathomable.
I was watching it in my living room with like 5 or 6 other people, and after she broke her arm or whatever did happen there, I'm assuming it looked like it was broken. It didn't hyperextend, by the way. It went to the side. It looked like it snapped off to the side. But anyway, every person who lifted after that, there was you could see everyone even all the men. We all cringed. Like anytime someone lifted, we cringed. We were just waiting for the next one. It was and so
dude, I mean,
you're saying by how it would affect the other lifters.
Completely. And there were even times where I think it was Alex Vigneault went to hit one. So I was right on buckle, and I was like, don't attempt it again. Like in my mind, I was like, don't attempt that again. Like, you've done well enough. You're in a great position. Don't sacrifice everything for this attempt right here. And Vellner, after he hit the 290, he went for 295 once. And I was like, please don't go for it again. Like, it's not worth the risk at this point. So I was experiencing much of the same.
We all got soft. Danielle Brandon, did you talk to her today, or did we find out what her double bird to the after she was? Is that just a celebratory thing? Did you talk to her about that expression of celebration?
I have not had a chance to talk to her about that. No.
Okay. I think we're good. I think
I will say this about Danielle Brandon, because she was involved in a tiebreak in that snatch event, And I think anyone who was watching saw that she had to do 4 snatches when everyone else in her heat had to do 3, and the Coliseum was booing that after the fact. She just got a no rep on her first snatch. And like that's fine. That's a judge's call on the field. So that's what was going on there in case anyone was wondering about that. There's no rep. She ended up, losing that tiebreak.
I didn't watch it in slow motion, but I do believe that she started lowering the bar before her hips were all the way open, before she stood all the way up. So that's what it looked like from at home. I don't know for sure. She did not look happy.
No, and I had a pretty down the line view of that. She was the farthest one, so I couldn't really see through the other women. But after the fact, the judge who was judging her there is a veteran judge at the CrossFit Games. And Boz and Dave talked to each other real quick. Adrian ran over there, had a word with him, came back over and just said to Dave, he no repped the first snatch. And it's like, it's as simple as that. It's a call on the field. It happens all the time. It's just in that setting, it's a very focused setting because the spotlight's just right there and you can't really miss it.
God, I'd hate to be a judge. Could you imagine being in there with all that positive energy and love, and then all of a sudden it just turns on one person and starts booing them?
I mean, I've had this past year, I've had a chance, or 2 years, I've had a chance to get to know a lot of the judges who travel. And these judges oftentimes pay thousands of dollars to travel around the world and volunteer at these competitions. And then they also show up at the games, and I've talked to some of them. And you got to understand, they do not want to have a negative effect on the competition at all. It's the complete opposite of that. They are briefed on the standards the same as the athletes are, and they want to uphold them on the field of play. I've contended at any level, being a judge in a CrossFit competition is the hardest job in CrossFit.
That guy, I wish I could remember his name. Her judge, I'm pretty sure I know him. I've worked out with him a few times. He's a flow master, and like you said, like that guy knows his shit.
Yeah, and he was confident. I mean, despite I don't think the stadium booing is gonna affect him at all. Like, he knows what he's out there to do, and he did his job. And you might not like every no rep that's called on the field, but they're seeing something right there closer than you have the opportunity to see it, and then they just have to make the call on the fly. It's difficult.
Do we know what the events are tomorrow?
We don't know the events tomorrow, but the North Park field is currently set up with some hay bales and the bob. And we know the teams are going first. My guess is that the teams will do some event that involves getting over this hay bale, and maybe it'll involve throwing the cheese curd over it, or the cheddar chunk, or whatever it's called, or maybe it'll just be burpees over it, or who knows what. And then probably the individuals will have an event that also includes that. I doubt they'd put it out there just for the teams. So we might have that implement that we've seen before in 2017. And then we do know that there's going to be a yoke at some point tomorrow, but we don't know in what capacity. Maybe it'll be, burpees over the hay bale yoke workout. Like, that would fit with what we haven't seen yet today. And then I think there are two events inside the Coliseum to wrap up the competition tomorrow afternoon.
So the implements you mentioned were hay bales, which I think are awesome. The bob does nothing for me. Fuck the bob. And the yoke. The yoke's kind of cool. I heard the hay bales are 5 feet high. Is that true? And is that higher than years past? I don't remember them being 5 feet high.
Just thinking about I think they were about the same height. I would say they're similar. I don't know for sure, but I know someone who would know, and I can find out.
Okay, cool. What time does the event start tomorrow morning? And when I say the event, I mean individual.
Shit, I can't remember if it's 9:50 or 10:50. I think it's 9:50 a.m. Central Time. 9:50 a.m. Central Time is what.
Do you know, Ryan? Can you check on that? Does that say anywhere on the game site? This is funny. I'm gonna click on the Noble CrossFit Games 2021 homepage of the site right now, and you think it would say right here everything I need to know to watch it? The page is loading.
Well, this is the thing. Like, they went to do that snatch workout today, and they brought the demo team out to do some snatches, but they didn't explain the format of the snatch. And then they had all these barbells out there for the tiebreaker, and they didn't ever even tell us what weight was on the barbells for the tiebreaker. And it's like, people want to know that information. I don't know what the value in keeping that stuff secret is. Like, if you want to keep it secret right up to the event, that's fine. But bring the demo team out there and have them demonstrate what's going to happen and explain to the crowd and the people at home what they're about to watch, so they can process it before it's unfolding on the floor, and tell us if they all fail at the same weight, they're going to go to these barbells that weigh this much weight and do a 3-rep tiebreaker. Like that.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
I'm just saying.
Don't get me started.
Okay.
There's a ton of things they need to do to add value. Half the time it was hard to even see what weight they were lifting. Sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
So the schedule for tomorrow, event 13 for the men start at 9:50 a.m.
Central time.
And it says it goes to 10:05 a.m. So relatively short. Women start at 2:15 to 10:30. And then the men go again, event 14 at the Coliseum, 12 p.m. to 12:24. Event 14, women, 12:30 p.m. And then men go from 1:40 to 2:10 p.m. For event 15.
I just heard 9:50 a.m. That's all I need to know. But my question is then now, Brian, how about this? If one, I don't know how the hell you saw that. Oh, click how to watch. Okay. Now my next question is how do you watch? Can I keep watching on YouTube, or on Sunday do I need to go somewhere else?
You asking me?
Anyone who knows.
Well, I have only been watching live, so I really am not sure. And I remember we were trying to find this answer out earlier in the week. I think you asked Dave, and he wasn't even sure. But the thing that stands out to me from what Ryan just shared with us is that it sounds like the time domains are all going to be between 10 and 15 minutes, which I kind of like on the last day of competition. We know that we had 4 really short events on Saturday. We know we've had some longer events this morning, and obviously the first event. So maybe we'll get some classic time domain, classic CrossFit workouts. And after all these, variety of tests that we've had, we're going to see some workouts that, even though they're going to be high level caliber difficulty stuff, are maybe something that's digestible for people who just do CrossFit every day in the box.
So I'm on the schedule for all divisions, and it's telling me where they are, like North Park Coliseum, etc. It's not telling me how to watch from home. So we don't know. Okay. Does anyone know? Does anyone on YouTube know? Can anyone say in the comments? How are you going to watch? How can you help me watch the games tomorrow? How do I watch the games tomorrow? Do you know how to watch it, Ryan? Do you have plans to watch it?
So
I'll be
a
watching
couple
it.
things I just want to say before we go. Is that okay?
Please. Yeah, please. I'll stop fixating on the time.
Just some athletes lower down on the leaderboard that I think are worth acknowledging. Bailey Rail only made the semifinals via backfill invitation. She got to go to the Atlas Games. She got a top 5 spot. She made it to the CrossFit Games, and now she's made it to the top 20. That's incredible. And someone on the Morning Chalk wrote an article about it if you want to read more.
By the way, I will say something about her. I think she got a gimme in her tiebreaker on the snatch event. I don't think she had control at the top for her last 2 lifts. Okay, go on.
Ariel Lowen, again, she's 15th right now, and she's probably not getting a ton of press or recognition, but what she's doing this year is incredible.
Incredible.
She won the Granite Games, came really out of nowhere. And similarly to Bailey, no one was giving her a chance, including me, to make it this far in the competition. She's a mother, and she has a full-time job, and she's having a blast here. She has a huge support system. And, everyone obviously that makes it to this stage has done a phenomenal job. But those 2 in particular stand out amongst a who's who of female CrossFitters, and a lot of people who are professionals, meaning that they don't have other full-time jobs or commitments or responsibilities. So just wanted to give a little bit of a shout out to both Bailey and Ariel. Great accomplishments to make it this far in the competition.
Yeah, I agree. And she had some pretty decent finishes too. That handstand walk really helped some people. That helped her. She took a 6th in it.
And it's I'm glad you brought that up, because the handstand walk is a specialty skill test, and there's a place for specialty skill tests, and the place for that is when you have a variety of other tests surrounding them. And it's great that she has that opportunity to shine in something like that, but she's been consistent across the board, and that's why consistent enough to get here, which is like I said, just really cool for both of those ladies.
And she took a 7th in event 11. That was the pegboard double unders and overhead squat, dumbbell overhead squat, and that's impressive, because that's a field of savages.
It is, and that's a very demanding workout in several different capacities. The only guy on the men's side I really want to acknowledge that we haven't talked about much today is Alex Vigneault. He's been away from the sport for a couple of years. He basically built the gym in his garage. He has a young kid at home. He works out by himself all the time. he's got a 9th and an 11th place finish in his career at the CrossFit Games. So it's not uncommon to see him up near the top of the leaderboard. But I didn't know what we'd see from him because we haven't seen him in a while. He's kind of in the middle of the pack age-wise at 29. I think he's going to even move up a couple spots tomorrow. Guy Malheiros and BKG and Saxon Panchik are within reach. I think he'll end up finishing, 5th or 6th. And really cool to see him doing that. Don't think he's gotten a lot of press, but I did want to just recognize a great weekend so far for Alex Vigneault.
Yeah, and you can't say enough about Lazar Jukic either.
Oh, so Lazar Jukic right now, people want Guy Malheiros to get the Rookie of the Year. He can't get the Rookie of the Year because he competed at the CrossFit Games in 2019. Even though it's only for 3 events, it disqualifies him from that award. He could potentially be in the running for the most improved athlete at the Games this year because he was 48th. Then if he ends up finishing 5th, that's obviously an incredible improvement. And I doubt anyone will be better than that. But Lazar Jukic is currently the highest ranking rookie at the CrossFit Games. However, both Andre Houdet and Mallory O'Brien are in 11th. So if you're interested in that battle at all, that's who he has to fend off. In the case of Andre Houdet, he's got like almost a 80-something point lead. And then Mal O'Brien's in a different field than him, but they'll only pick one across both divisions. So if you're interested in Rookie of the Year at all, Lazar is currently the gatekeeper for that award.
And he deserves it. In spirit of the Games, maybe they'll give it to Brooke Wells if she comes back to the venue with in a wheelchair and No, it's got to be Sam Briggs. It's got to be Sam Briggs. Come on.
Well, I don't think they've ever given Spirits of the Games to someone who's won Spirit of the Games before, and she won it in 2019, I believe, or was it 2018? She's won it, so I don't think she'll win it again.
Yes, she will.
I think if he hasn't won it before, I think Scott Panchik's going to win it.
Ooh.
And I'm just saying, if Sam Briggs has not won it before, which she has, then she would be deserving of it. And like you've said, if you gave it to her every year, you couldn't argue against it. But I like that they only give it once. It's a very,
Well, you don't know that for sure, do you? You don't know for sure they only give it once. You're saying the precedent so far has been only once.
Yeah, and if that is the case and continues to be the case, I don't really have a problem with that. It is a very special award to receive. And a special group of people that you're a part of if you get that award. So I think at this point, I would vote for Scott Panchik of the people who have not won it before. But that's a very small group of people who are involved in making that decision.
Someone wrote, how do you think Scott's knee holds up under a 605-pound yoke? Oh,
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Someone
else is saying Annie for Spirit of the Games. It's funny that you say that, Peter, about Annie, because when and this is just hearsay, I don't know if this is true, but when they were going to have Danielle Brandon run that race, and Sam Briggs says, I'll run it with her so she doesn't have to run it alone, and Turi's daughter said she'll run it with her, and Lauren Horvath said she'll run it with her. I don't know if this is true, I heard Annie ask which variant she had to try to make the decision to run with her. And then today during the snatch event, I saw Danielle walking away from the bar and Annie walking towards her, and then saw it was her and slam on the brakes to make sure she didn't get too close to her. And I find, on one hand, it's great that they keep letting Danielle compete under whatever theatrical precautions that they're taking, but it is interesting that they were all using the same bar out there. It's a tough one. It's quite the world we live in. Okay. Anything else you want to throw out there?
Just in case anyone's tuning in late, my picks for podium at the end of the Games tomorrow are that the men's will go unchanged: Medeiros, Vellner, Fikowski, and that the women's, even though Sevan disagrees with me, will be Tia, Laura, and Haley Adams.
No, that's not.
Hey, those are my picks. You can have your own picks.
It's going to be Tia, Laura Horvath, and Annie Thor's daughter. Annie Thor's daughter is.
By the way,
she's just battle tested.
We were talking. There were a lot of people who were up in arms with ranking Annie ahead of Katrin on the all-time top 10 list prior to the Games this year.
Look
And
at
they
you
said,
getting
what if
all puffy
Katrin?
chested. Well, look at you getting all
No,
puffy
no,
chested.
no, 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 no. And people said, what if Katrin beats her at the games this year? And I said, well, we'll have to see what happens and how much that discrepancy is. But obviously, the opposite is going to happen. And I did receive a DM from someone today that said, boom, there it is. Annie Thorzad, second greatest of all time, undisputed.
You're a good dude. Hey, someone in the comments called Jason Hopper Jason Flopper. Oh man. Oh man. Jason. Yeah, he's a good dude. He's battling. Hey, he made the final cut, man. He made the final cut.
And we talked about it earlier. He's not happy, but he's going to continue to fight, and he'll learn a lot from this weekend. And I think we'll see a different version of Jason Hopper next year.
Do you think someone's saying, do you think Katrin will redeem herself? I don't know what that means. And then the comment below said, Katrin doesn't look her best. I think Katrin looks the same as she always does. I just think that the game's been elevated. I think it's all next level shit now. This thing's a runaway train. The athletes are getting just better and better every year.
It is, and we talked about it on the men's side. I mean, Laura Horvath, very young. Haley Adams, very young. Gabriella Magawa, who's been phenomenal, by the way. Probably should have talked about her too. She's very young. Daniel Brandon is young. Mal O'Brien is young. Half of the women that are ahead of Katrin are still getting better.
Yeah, significantly. Someone said that you can find the schedule on YouTube. So basically, Uma Patel said that if you go to CrossFit Games YouTube channel, it says schedule for live stream tomorrow for day 4. So I'm guessing that means you don't need CBS, which was what I was thinking you were going to need, because I think they're going to be on CBS Sports Live. But that's awesome that they'll still run it on YouTube. Do you want to get off, or do you want to say one more thing about Amanda Barnhart and her disappointment? Talk about her snatch, whether you were disappointed.
Man, there were definitely some athletes that were really bummed out with their performance in the snatch day. And the 3 that stand out to me are Hopper, Turi Helgadottir, and Amanda Barnhart. But especially Amanda Barnhart. You know, if we remember back to 2019, and I also have an article coming out tomorrow that compares the 2019 clean event to the 2021 snatch event for those who are interested in that. She was the one that was pushing Tia, much like Annie was this year, as they had an epic battle on the clean back and forth. And I think a lot of people expected to see her in much later on in the competition. She got to the tiebreaker and decimated it. I'm not really sure what happened for her to miss that lift, but she did go up to Dave afterwards and say something I couldn't decipher about how bummed out she was with her performance in that.
She looked bummed. Laura Horvath looked bummed too. Yeah. Jason Hopper looked like someone took his lunch money.
All right, guys. The look that Jason Hopper gave Dave as he was walking off the floor. I mean, I think a very, very small handful of people would have the balls to give Dave that look.
I wish I could have seen it. Guys, we're checking out. Last thing I want to say is I think we've one of the things that we can talk about or sleep on tonight is recognize how really amazing Matt Fraser really was. We've seen a lot of these athletes crumble under pressure today. It's not a hit on them. There's a ton of pressure on them, and we saw Matt and Tia both live up to that insane pressure now for so many years. So hats off to both of them. And
100%.
we are out.